Welcome back. Now that you have your microphone set up and ready to go, it is time to talk about recording software. So, how do you record your podcast? Well, this is going to differ depending on how many people you're recording with, if you plan to edit, and a couple of other questions. So, let's start with the easiest and then work our way up. If you are not planning to edit yourself, if you just want to talk and record and upload, then I think that QuickTime on the Mac or Sound Recorder on Windows is the way to go. They're both free and they are already on your platform. If you do want to edit or want a few more options for output or just basic editing, cutting, things like that, I would recommend Audacity. Audacity is free, it is cross-platform, and there are lots of tutorials on how to use it. But that's if you're doing a solo show. Or if you happen to be recording your podcast with somebody in the same room, you can both have a microphone connected to a computer and use Audacity to capture both tracks. But you're likely recording with somebody, uh, whether it's a co-host or a guest, across the internet. So if you are working with a co-host, again, pretty simple. Get on some video conference like Zoom or Skype or whatever works for you, and both of you record your side of the audio. So both of you would either use QuickTime or Sound Recorder, and then you'll combine them later in the edit. I like Zoom as well because Zoom creates multi-track recordings. So your audio would be in one track, your co-host's audio would be in another track, and then there'll be the combined file. However, I recommend you both record on your own computers because you're going to get the best sounding audio quality that way. It's recorded locally on your computer. It's going to be uncompressed, so it's going to sound the best, and it's not subject to an internet connection. If you have a guest, things get a little bit more complicated because you're going to have to walk them through the process, but I believe the process is the same. You record your audio, ask your guest, give them clear instructions to record their own audio. That's how I run my podcast, and it's worked out for me most of the time. Now, the way I do it is we record on Zoom, and I also record the Zoom call. That's going to serve as a backup for me. So I have my audio in QuickTime, or actually I use GarageBand to record, but GarageBand, Audacity, QuickTime. The guest is recording their audio most likely in QuickTime if they have a Mac, or Sound Recorder if they have a PC. And then they're going to send me the audio, and my editor puts them together. And then again, Zoom serves as a backup just in case something happens with their recording or I don't get their recording. I still have a recording to use, even if it's not the highest quality, as long as my audio sounds good and theirs is recorded on a decent microphone, it'll be fine. There are tools to help you kind of mitigate that. So there's one called Zencaster. I think that's probably the most popular. And I'll link all of this stuff in the description below too. But Zencaster, you pay some sort of monthly fee, and then you send your guest a link. You're both brought to a browser window where you have the conversation. It's audio only, and Zencaster does all of the local recordings for you to download. So that is a possible course of action. I've had some bad experiences and with Zencaster, but I'm looking to try it again as I record this. So that could be an option for you. They have a free tier as well for you to test it if you want. And that's going to cost anywhere outside of the free tier, I think $19 and up a month. So that's definitely something to consider. But my general recommendation for recording with a guest is you record your side of the audio. Again, using Audacity is what I recommend because it's free and it's the easiest to use, I think, or at least there's a lot of tutorials out there. Have your guest record their side of the audio separately on their computer. I will link in the description for this video to instructions that I send my guests, which makes it super clear for them so that they know exactly what they need to do on the day of recording. And if you want to explore a paid option, Zencaster, I think, is one of the most popular ones out there. So that's worth giving a shot to as well. Your method for deciding what you want to do is going to depend on cost, number of people on your podcast. So with Zencaster, the free tier has a limit on the number of people. So I think it's only 2, maybe 3 at most. So if you have a co-host and a guest, maybe that's something that you'll have to consider. And general ease of use. The reason that I would want to go with Zencaster is because I shouldn't have to tell my guest to do anything. But again, when I tried Zencaster out, I still had to give my guests instructions, and so I'd rather just give them the clearer instructions on how to record on their computer. So that is everything here. Your action item is decide how you want to record and give it a test run. Everything I just mentioned is in the workbook as well for this course. There's a description below this video that'll kind of run you through the options. But again, for you, I would recommend recording your side of the audio in Audacity, and then having your guest, if you're doing an interview show, record their side of the audio in either QuickTime or Sound Recorder. And I've had a really good experience with Zoom for the calls, because Zoom creates a backup recording that works really well. So again, decide how you want to record. Let me know in the comments down below or in the Facebook Student Center. And if you have any questions about setting it up, well, we're going to dig deeper into that in this section.